Welcome dear learners. Today we will discuss about influenza virus. Objectives for today's topic is we will understand the microbiology of influenza virus, we'll study its genetic variation, its modes of transmission, pathogenesis, treatment, prophylaxis, infection control and vaccination. Etiology. Influenza virus, they are a large single stranded RNA viruses. They belongs to family Orthomyxoviridae. It includes three genera: influenza virus A, influenza virus B, and influenza virus C. Amongst the three, influenza virus A and B, they are primary human pathogens and are the reason of common seasonal epidemics. While influenza virus C is sporadic in nature and it leads to upper respiratory syndromes. Epidemiology, it is transmitted from person to person. Like we see in COVID or coronavirus, it is transmitted from one person to another person. It can be transmitted through the droplet infection, which can be seen through sneezing, coughing, or talking. The portal of entry of the virus is the respiratory tract. Its incubation period is around 12 hours to 72 hours. It is seen generally during the changing season, that is, it causes seasonal flus and all. It is responsible for, or it is most active during the colder environmental conditions. Four major global pandemics have been observed. 1918 caused by influenza virus A, H1N1. It was comparatively a severe one like that of the coronavirus, also known as the Spanish flu. In 1957, H2N2 epidemic was formed, and it is also known as an Asian flu. In 1968, H3N2, it was another epidemic known as Hong Kong. Back in 2009, H1N1 was again a pandemic was seen. It was because of the swine flu. And in 2019, December 2019, another pandemic which we are still facing is the coronavirus or COVID 19. Microbiology. Type A virus are divided into subtypes. These two subtypes are based upon the composition of different proteins. So this influenza virus, they are having a typical structure. They have their genetic material embedded within this structure, which is covered by enveloped, or it is covered by a capsid. And this capsid, it consists of different proteins in it. These proteins, namely two important proteins, can be seen: hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. These are the two antigenic determinants which are responsible for their pathogenesis. They are the reason for the antigenic variations. So it is the reason that we find this COVID virus, it is altering and we call it as a mutant, double mutant, and likewise. So it keeps on changing its structure, mutating, and it leads to the seasonal variations or its seasonal flus. While type B and C, very rarely such types of variants are seen, and very less antigenic determinants are found or antigenic variations are found. Genetics, as we have discussed, the influenza A and B has a genome made up of 8 single stranded RNA segments, and very few or little change is seen in their subtypes. Point mutation is quite common, and that too particularly in hemagglutinin antigen. This gene is particularly changing. It keeps on changing and it leads to formation of new strains or novel strains. It can occur both in type A and B, and it keeps on changing yearly. The major changes in subtypes can be seen, but less frequently. It can even lead to the dramatic changes. Simultaneous infection by more than one strain in a single slot, it can be harmful. Emergence of novel subtypes like avian influenza, that is H5N1 in 1997, which was seen across 13 different countries. Avian influenza again, which is transferring from the animals to or birds to human beings, or we can call such viruses as zoonotic viruses. Means these viruses, they generally they causes infection to the animals, birds or cattle, and because of mutations or for some other reasons, the human beings which are in contact with these animals, they can be transferred to human beings, and that can be very dreadful. As we are observing the present day COVID or coronavirus, it is assumed to be caused because of seafoods. Next is pathogenesis. It causes, or it is major target organ is the respiratory tract. It invades the ciliated columnar epithelium cells using hemagglutinin antigen to celiac residues. It binds over there and causes the infection. It occurs within 4 to 6 hours of infection. This virus, when they gain entry inside the cell, here we can see this is a virus. When it gains entry inside a cell, it gets itself covered or coated with the protein. Immediately it enters the nucleus of an organism. It hijacks its cellular machinery, its replication machinery, and forces it to synthesize the viral DNA or RNA. In this case, it is RNA. So it forces the cellular machinery to synthesize its genetic material. It increases its population and thus it leaves this cell. So it is using this cell as a reservoir, as a factory. This virus, it enters the nucleus, it stops the cell from further replication and uses this machinery for its own replication, increases its copy number and leaves the cell and keeps on. This replication, it continues for 10 to 14 days. The lytic infection of respiratory epithelium even can be seen. Loss of ciliary function, decreased mucus production, desquamations, these are some of the conditions which can lead to even secondary bacterial infections. What are the common signs and symptoms? Fever is generally the first condition that we can see. Apart from fever, the chills, cough, sore throat, runny stuffy nose, headache, muscle ache, extreme fatigue, anorexia, abdomen pain, vomiting, loose stools, these are some of the conditions that can be seen under infection. Clinical categorization. Category A and B, they are comparatively milder. Category A, it can be seen, it causes a mild feel plus a little cough or sore throat with or without body ache, headache, diarrhea or vomiting. In this case, antiviral oseltamivir, generally used against Tamil flu, not recommended in this case. Symptomatic treatment, that is common cold under common cold conditions, whatever treatment we do is recommended. Monitor for progress and releases, reassess after 24 to 48 hours. In this case, the test H1N1 is not recommended. The patient should confine themselves at home and avoid mixing. In case of category B infection, it includes category A, all the symptoms of category A plus high grade fever and severe sore throat infection. In this case also, home isolation and antiviral, that is oseltamivir, is recommended. Category A plus following high risk conditions shall be treated with this antiviral drug. Special care for the pregnant women, the older persons, the person having systemic diseases, blood disorders, neurological disorders, and diabetic patients should be taken care. Cancers and HIV patients should be given much attention. H1N1 test is not recommended even in category B. Should confine themselves to the home and avoid public mixing. Broad spectrum antibiotic as per the guidelines. In case with category C, category A and category B plus one or more of the following symptoms they are seen. In that case, it includes the breathlessness, drowsiness, sputum mixed with blood has been found, chest pain, falling blood pressure, bluish discoloration of the nails. This condition, if occurs, it is the worst conditions. Children's with influenza-like illness plus previous severe disease, it can manifest to somnolence, high and persistent fever, inability to feed well, convulsions, shortness of breath. It, all these conditions are very chronic, and under these conditions, it requires immediate hospitalization and requires testing and treatment. So, what are the investigations recommended? Routine baseline investigations. Confirmation can be done with the help of real time or RT-PCR. Even nowadays, the rapid antigen tests are used or they are available. They can be done. That can be done. Isolation of the virus and its culturing can be done. Fourfold rise in the virus specific neutralizing antibodies. This can be a confirmation of this virus. Clinical specimens are nasopharyngeal swabs, throat swab, nasal swab, tracheal aspirator in case with the intubated patients can be collected. This collection should be done before the application or administration of the antiviral drug. The specimens should be kept at 4 degrees Celsius. It should be transported immediately, say less than 24 hours. If not, in that case, it should be stored at minus 70 degrees Celsius. Paired blood samples at an interval of 14 days for serological testings are recommended. Pharmacological treatments, oseltamivir is recommended. Its mode of action is it is a neuraminidase antigen inhibitor. When as young as to the 2 weeks older life or very young child, used in both prophylaxis and treatment. Doses, it depends upon the body weight. Generally 2 times a day are recommended depending upon the weight of the individual. Some common symptoms or side effects of this treatment is transient nausea and vomiting are seen. Another drug, zanamivir, is also used. It is also an neuraminidase inhibitor used in oseltamivir resistant cases, available in case with the inhalation and IV preparation. It is recommended in age 7 years and older. Treatment is 10 mg twice daily. Case with the prophylaxis, 10 mg doses recommended for 5 days. In case with this coronavirus, we are not using both this. Instead, remdesivir is recommended. Remdesivir is it inhibits the process of replication. It terminates the process of viral replication. In case with the influenza, supportive treatment it includes salicylate or aspiration contraindicated. Sometimes it can lead to complications, as we can see the post-COVID complications. It can lead to Reye syndromes. In that case, the brain and liver get bulged or inflated. Even it can lead to some other organ dysfunctions as well. Even secondary bacterial infections can be seen. Even we find the mucormycosis nowadays in case with the post-COVID complications. What should be done in case with the treatment? The glucose level and temperature should be maintained. For this, paracetamol or any drug which can be used to control the temperature like ibuprofen can be used. Parental nutrition should be provided. Oxygen support, if the case is requiring the oxygen, it should be provided. Throat and nasal care should be taken. IV fluid hydration should be maintained. Suppression should be maintained. Electrical balance should be maintained. Electrolyte balance should be maintained. What are the discharge policy for the patients? If the patient responds in 2 to 3 days and become asymptomatic, it can be discharged after 5 days. In case if the patient is not responding, further 5 days treatment is recommended. In case with symptomatic patient, even after the 10 days of treatment is not responding, in that case secondary infection must be taken care of. It should be checked for the resistance of antiviral drug, and another antiviral drug should be administered. Family of patient who were earlierly discharged should be educated for the personal hygiene and infection control at home. Chemoprophylaxis for the healthcare worker of isolation unit. Even the treating physician should be given, paramedical personals, unit helpers. They must be administered with oseltamivir 75 mg once a day for 10 days. For the people in contacts, the high risk patient that is having complicated diseases or diabetic and blood pressure, elderly peoples, they should be taken care for. In case with the mass chemoprophylaxis, oseltamivir for all within the 5 kilometers of the epicenters is recommended. Severe morbidity and high morbid patients should be identified. Cluster is limited by natural geographic boundaries. Decision would be taken by the state health departments and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. All close contact of suspect, that is contact tracing, probable and confined cases should be made. Close contact, it can include the household, the social contacts, family members, co-workers, school contacts, fellow travelers and all. Chemoprophylaxis doses, oseltamivir is a drug of choice, recommended for 10 days, maximum period 6 weeks, and depending upon the weight of the individual, it is recommended. Use of personal protective equipment, that is PPE kit, is recommended in case with the infections, which includes the gloves, the mask, pre-layered surgical mask, non-sleeved cuffed gown, protective eyewear, cap, and plastic apron. Infection control measures, the isolation unit, the patient should wear a 3-layer surgical mask. The medical or paramedical personnel should wear PPE kit, waterproof apron if soiling is anticipated. In case with, avoid the aerosol generated procedures, perform hand hygiene. Infection control measures or precautions to continue for the 7 days after resolution of the symptoms, and in case with the children, up to 14 days care must be taken. Disinfection of the contaminated surface and equipments on a daily basis is recommended, and once after discharge it is recommended. During the transport of such patient, the patient should wear a 3-layer surgical mask, avoid aerosol generating procedures, that is should cover his mouth and nose while sneezing and coughing. The ambulance cabin personnel should wear N95 mask plus PPE kit. The driver should wear 3-layered surgical mask. Once the patient is admitted, the interior and exterior of the ambulance should be sanitized. Standard disposal procedure for the waste is recommended. Vaccines. There are nowadays different types of vaccines, they are available in the market for COVID. Generally for influenza virus, inactivated influenza vaccines are used. In that case, it is trivalent, or it is made up by the combination of 3 different strains of viruses. Generally, the inactivated viruses are used, or killed influenza viruses are used. The viruses which causes mild or which is not harmful, they are used in that. 3 strains are used in particularly influenza virus A, H1N1 virus, influenza A, H3N2 virus, and influenza B virus. Antibodies will be developed after 2 weeks of vaccination. The route of vaccination is intramuscular. Its protective efficiency is 50 to 60. In case with the new generation vaccines, mRNA vaccines and subunit vaccines, in that case the efficiency may rise. It can be recommended for anyone as older as 6 months old. Depending upon the age, the doses can be changed. Soreness, redness, tenderness are some common side effects